You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
Hey everyone! Spike Lee's Oldboy is out in theaters, and you know what that means.
Another episode of Don't F with the Original.
That's right, I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic.
I'm Nicholas, video game correspondent for Idiomatic.
And so we are going to review the original Korean movie, Oldboy.
Yeah.
Based on the graphic novel.
So, Oldboy is the story of Odae-soo, who is imprisoned in the hotel for 15 years. And he doesn't know why. He's just stuck in this hotel room and he's fed dumplings every day. And when he gets out, he wants to know who did that to him and to get revenge. And he finally meets the person, and the person gives him an ultimatum. It's like, you have 5 days to figure out why I did that to you. If not, I'm going to kill the person you love. And if you can figure out why I imprisoned you for 15 years, I'm going to kill myself. So it's basically his struggle to figure out why he was imprisoned for 15 years in this hotel, and why Lee Woo-jin, who's the guy that imprisoned him, why he imprisoned him for 15 years. So that he has to have 5 days to figure it out.
Yeah, and along the way he meets a young woman who sort of has a little bit of a depressing life, but he forges a real connection with her. I forget her name.
Her name is Mido. So basically, he either solves the mystery or Mido dies, are the terms.
Alright, look, I'm about to, take a giant dump on this movie, so first I want to talk a little bit about the things that I think are good in it, because it is a highly celebrated movie. Like, this movie, people love the living hell out of it and call it genius filmmaking. Again, I don't see it, but I'm not completely blind to some of the filmmaking things that are interesting.
Yeah.
It is very interestingly shot. You know, it is a bleak movie. It is very gray, but it is a good use of color. It is a good use of empty space. That's what I like about a lot of the Asian movies, particularly the Japanese and Korean movies. They have a nice sense of space and silence, which you don't find in American movies or Chinese movies for that matter. There's one fight scene where he's using a hammer backwards there. And
he's fighting a bunch of guys, and it's not even super choreography where he's kicking the ass of everybody. No, he's getting his ass kicked once in a while. It's just that, eventually he just, gets an adrenaline surge, I guess, and manages to win the fight.
Yeah.
But it's not super choreographed. It is what you would expect if you were going out to beat the crap out of 15 guys. That's what would happen to you.
And it's a long corridor, and what's kind of cool is that the camera sort of pans out more and more, and you actually get to see the entire corridor in more or less one shot over several floors, even. Yeah. And that's something I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's filmed in one shot as well. That whole fight scene, which is pretty cool. It's not like, okay, I give you 3 punches, cut. Next scene, 2 punches. Very well made. So yeah, I agree that a lot of scenes like that where it's it was fun to look at. It's stuff I had never seen before.
Yeah, so certainly as a visual artist, Park Chan Wook is certainly interesting, and he does know how to direct actors. I think the performances there are all very strong.
Yeah.
Especially given that the characters are a little bit iffy, deliberately ill-defined, in the case of the hero.
Yeah.
And then when we get to the villain, it's a character that's just so poorly written. We'll get to that later, but it makes no sense. But honestly, the actor,
he works with what he has, and he's pretty good with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the girl also gains our sympathy really quickly, and she does it mostly through her demeanor. Yeah. So these are strong performances.
Yeah, the girl, I didn't like her character, but I liked the way the way the actress played him.
Yeah.
She was a little cry for my taste, but the actress was good at the crying, and she's she's crying again, getting on my nerves, but it's good crying. I can see that.
She's a depressed character, so she's not prone to proactive action. She's not prone to constructive behavior. So but she does get across that it's because she's broken, not because they decided to write in a ditch. There's a difference there, and I find she did get it across.
All right, that makes sense. She didn't cry for nothing. She cried for real reason. It's just that It's not like she cried. She didn't cry because her ice cream cone fell on the ground. She had real reasons to cry. But her being a little more proactive, I might have liked her a little more as a character, which does not take away at all from the actress's play of that character, which was very good.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, that's pretty much where it ends in terms of praise I have for this movie. How about you?
From what I've noticed from the soundtrack, which is whatnot, I don't really listen to those, but I was so put off by the movie itself that I actually get to listen to the music, and the soundtrack was very good as well. Which is another praise I give often, because I personally believe that the soundtrack should just basically fade into the movie, and you should kind of barely notice it. It should just add to the mood. But this time I was actually focusing on the soundtrack. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good music. I like it.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay.
Which is not a great praise for the movie, but great praise for the soundtrack.
Yeah, and look, it's competently made. Like it's like this is a film that I hate made by a very talented filmmaker. In terms of just the storytelling and whatnot, like it's all conveyed really well. None of it feels amateurish in any way. Like this is clearly a director who's in control, which frustrates me even more, because this is such a hateful, bizarrely nonsensical story.
Yeah. Although I do really think that hateful is the key term and is really what turned me off. Pretty much from the beginning.
My problem with it is that there's no light in it. And I find that trying to convey something depressing, which at this point, it seemed like that's what it was trying to do. So fair enough that you're allowed to do that as an artist. But I find that for me to be depressed with you and find something sad and be touched by the characters, I have to be engaged in your story. But if you assault me unrelentlessly with your bleakness, I have no reason to try to make a connection.
I hated the main character from the first time I saw him, where basically the way for us to introduce him is him being drunk in the police station and making a scene. And it was like, you lost me already. It's like, I'll give it a chance. And then later on, you see him, he's in his hotel room prison. And he's, all right, I'm going to start making a list of everybody I did wrong to. And, okay, so you're basically, again, promoting the fact that he's not a nice guy.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's trying to do redemption.
He doesn't speak about redemption. He's just saying, making a list of people I did wrong to. He doesn't say, I'm going to make right for them.
You don't do that because you want to have a party. Like, you do that for redemptive reasons.
He might have just been doing that to figure out who did that to him. So,
that's a good point.
And, you think he might change, but the first thing he does after coming out is he steals a cigarette from a guy. He starts a fight with him and his friends.
Yeah.
So you're like, you haven't even changed in those 15 years that you were stuck in there. So I still hate you, So it's hard for me to get in the movie when the main character or any character whatsoever, I can't really relate to in any way, shape, or form.
I agree. I mean, the young woman, she at least is a sympathetic character to me. Like, I didn't find her too whiny at all. I found that she was a little bit broken, but I felt sad for her, not hateful towards her.
Yeah.
But she's so completely hopeless, like literally without hope, that again, I couldn't bring myself to step into the movie and get invested in it because it was just like a portrayal of heartbreak. I really just rejected the movie, and maybe that's an artistic statement in and of itself. Like, in fairness, maybe not all art has to be beautiful to a certain degree, and that might have been fine if not for the ending, so we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But taking aside the idea that not all art has to be beautiful, it is an unpleasant experience for at least the first hour and a half. It is relentlessly unpleasant.
Yeah. He's basically told, you have 5 days.
Yeah.
Either figure out why you were imprisoned.
Yeah.
If you do, I will kill myself.
Yeah.
If not, I'll kill your friend.
Yeah.
He doesn't give him any extra clues for that, and he doesn't give him anything else. He doesn't say, if you're going to be right tonight. So the guy decides, all right, I'm not going to kill you. Instead, I'm just going to do what you said. Why not just kill the guy and then figure out why he imprisoned you? He's not giving you any extra clues for that. It's just people acting stupid again, and especially since it's like he keeps going, do you want vengeance or do you want to know what happened? And the guy's like, I want to know what happens. And then he ends like, oh, I'm all in it for vengeance. Well, make up your mind. Which one are you in for? Vengeance or figuring out what happened? It is completely ridiculous. And at that point, I was, okay, that part was, before that was super unpleasant for me.
Yeah.
But you think, okay, at least he has 5 days, it's going to be exciting, he's going to figure out what's happening. He basically browses the web and figures it out. Okay, that's how much figuring out it was. It was as hard as browsing the web. And that just made me so angry. It's like, oh, you browsed the web and you figured it out. Oh, swell. It's super disappointing.
But obviously when you build a mystery, you don't want it to be a Google search away from being solved.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
It is a movie that, like, on a plot level, the characters tend to act in accordance to the plot.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get to it when we get to the end, but, like, their motivations and their characters and their actions and whatnot is all sort of, like, dictated by the master puppeteer, which is the director, not by anything that comes inwards from the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's based on a, comic book series, and I can't imagine the comic book series being any interesting. Like, it almost feels like a series that was written to shock,
Okay.
And then, like, the author just went like, that happens now.
Yeah.
Like, because he got sick of it. Like, it really feels like it was written on the go and not with any definite plan.
Yeah. And again, based on the manga, written on the manga, he does certain things that just, make no sense. Like torturing the guy with the hammer or something. Yeah. That was just ridiculous. It might have looked sweet in the manga or something, but... Or when he prevents the guy from killing himself because he wants to tell the story, and then he lets himself, lets the guy commit suicide nonetheless. It's like, that might have been funny in the manga, but in real life, it's just sad and not fun.
Well, it's unpleasant.
It's unpleasant. If you want to be able to translate from manga to movie, just, watch Scott Pilgrim. That's how you do it, Not always.
Well, it's not the same kind of comic book, in fairness. Like,
still,
The problem that I have with it is that it celebrates meanness and cruelty so much.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I can imagine that's probably from the source material, like, because, I mean, like, for those of you who don't know, manga, which is what the comic book is referred to as, it literally means in Japanese forbidden drawing.
Okay.
So, like, I can understand, like, if that you're going into it, reading the book with that approach of, like, I'm gonna see some really lurid shit, you know what I mean? Like, then you go, like, yeah, that is lurid. And then you turn the page, you know what I mean? But here's the thing, like, it's gonna sound weird coming from, such a self-proclaimed horror fan such as myself. Yeah. I hate that kind of shit. Like, I don't like when horrifying things are presented as, isn't it cool or isn't it entertaining? Yeah,
like the guy, like you see him fall in the car and then it changed the scene. It was just like shock value. He just killed himself, and then it's not like Freddy killing somebody and then you stay with Freddy the whole time. That's part of the story. The guy that killed himself was just shock value. He killed himself, and then we'll never hear about him ever again. It is, it's just depressing to be depressing. Pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and like, we're supposed to revel in that? Like, really?
Yeah.
What does that say about us if we do? Like, I know I must be missing something, because if you guys like the movie and you're disappointed that we didn't, like, I don't want you to think that I'm about to call, oh, well, you must be a lunatic for liking this. No. I'm assuming that I'm missing something that you're seeing.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this and all I see is unpleasantness and a director who wants me to celebrate that, and I just don't want to.
Yeah.
So we're dancing around it long enough to perhaps test your patience at this point.
Yeah.
So, look, we're not recommending the movie at all, but we're going to explain to you why with spoilers now. So if you decided you still want to see the movie, because it is a celebrated movie, so clearly some people disagree with us. By all means, go for it, and you should stop listening in the next 5 seconds. So, T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time, people.
Yep.
Alright, so what happens in the end?
We learned that Lee Woo-jin, our bad guy, the thing that, our hero Dae-soo did wrong to him is that he caught him in sexual relation with his sister.
Yeah, he was bunking his sister.
Yeah, he was bunking his sister, and Dae-soo basically told it to everybody in school.
Yeah.
So as a revenge, our bad guy made sure that Dae-soo would sleep with his daughter, which is the crybaby girl that has been there all the they didn't know they were father
Related.
and daughter. They
Yeah.
didn't know they were related, and they had sex, and that was his revenge. Since you told everybody that I was being in an incestuous relationship with my sister, and she killed herself because of that. Well, I made you have sex with your daughter, and now I'm gonna, now and I'm gonna tell your daughter as well.
That doesn't make an ounce of sense as character motivation goes. The villain
Yeah.
thinks that that having sex with his sister is not wrong. So what that character is going to do, the villain, is going to get his revenge by forcing you to have incest because he thinks it's not wrong, but now it is. Wait, what? Like, if you either think it's wrong or you don't. If you don't think it's wrong, then forcing somebody to have incest is not much of a revenge because you're forcing them to have something that in your mind is not wrong.
Yeah. Okay. As an example, if Dimitri doesn't like chocolate, I love chocolate. I think chocolate is delicious. And I want to play a mean prank to him, It's like, oh, I'm going to force Dimitri to eat chocolate because it's gross. No, I'm not forcing him to do anything. Chocolate is delicious, So what the hell? I'm not forcing anything on him, It's not wrong, It's completely, me forcing people to eat chocolate, I'm like, that's not wrong because you think, if I think chocolate is good, me giving chocolate to people is not something that's wrong. It's something that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it's just the equation makes no sense as well. It's like, what he did wrong was telling, that, oh, I saw him have sex with his sister, and so his revenge is to force him to have sex. Is like, no, your revenge should be to tell everybody that he's doing something, or do the equivalent or something.
Yeah. Like it feels a little bit like he did step one and then like pulled a Green Goblin and ate pie.
Yeah.
Instead of telling everyone right after.
Yeah. It's just weird, and also, honestly, it was kind of predictable as well. I'm sorry.
Oh, really? I didn't see it coming. Well, that's interesting.
Isn't there this rule in cinema that when you mention a character but she's not in the movie, she's probably a character that's already in the movie?
Yeah, that's a
you
good
don't
point.
know.
That's a good point.
So I came in there and it's like, your daughter's in Sweden. It's like, bullshit, you're his daughter. Come on, it's obvious. I mean, I saw it like immediately from the beginning, so that when they had sex, I was, okay, that's gross.
I got a chance, and I do mean a chance, an opportunity to work in women's shelters and whatnot. Like, I taught self-defense in Native American communities where that was an issue, or where women beaten were an issue and whatnot.
Okay.
I got to do that, and I learned a lot of really awful shit happens to people.
Yeah.
Like really horrible things. And it's not cool. Like, I mean, like, I've seen people suffer so much from things like that watching it in a movie and being used as a plot device for, haha, you didn't see that coming.
Yeah, pretty much a punchline.
Yeah. Made me so angry. Like, so angry. Like, and it's a pet peeve of mine. Like, I have the same problem with the pilot of Nikita. I have the same, like, look, people, sexual abuse is not a punchline, like you say. It's not a plot device. Like, if you want to explore sexual abuse and the consequences of that, by all means do. It's a topic. You shouldn't be forbidden to talk about any topic.
Yeah.
But talk about it. Don't just introduce it and, like, wash your hands of it and go like, ha, I broke a taboo. Like, no.
No. If you want to talk about it, introduce it like early in the movie and see how the characters deal with it. And that's talking about it. It's not having like an hour and a half of a movie that doesn't go in that direction at all. And all of a sudden it's like, haha, you slept with your daughter. It's like, what the fuck? Seriously. No. It's
exploitive.
Yeah.
And for the record, like, because I know we're like getting into really complicated areas, I'm not saying that you can't make a funny incest joke. I think you can. I think you can make a funny joke out of anything.
Yeah.
But the joke can't be incest in and of itself. Like, you can't be like, incest, laugh.
Yeah.
And that movie felt like it was doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much, basically it's just saying incest and, waiting for the audience reaction to be like, yeah, it's that's not. It was really not cool.
Yeah, and then the revelation is coupled with like this insane amount of violence that is like that you feel as if it's being presented to you as if it should be cathartic because the bad guy like suffers a lot and the good guy suffers a lot too, and everybody suffers and you're like cathartic. I was like, no, not really.
No, now everybody's suffering. It's like
unpleasant.
Yeah. Again, continuing the unpleasantness that been going on for an hour and a half already.
Yeah, it's not like I can wash away the sight of your awful punchline with your fake blood for like the last 20 minutes of the film. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People get their tongues cut off, and it's just like, what the like? Okay, yeah, you went there, whoopie doo. Like, And okay, then the second punch.
Oh, you go ahead and describe that one.
That one made me so mad, man. Yeah. So mad. So, what does our hero do? He decides to go into hypnotic suggestion and cause himself amnesia to forget that his lover is his daughter so he can continue fucking her.
Yeah. You would think, okay, if I want to forget I did that and, never see the girl again, it's like, okay, he gets his mind wiped and then he just moves somewhere else, Sweden or something.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But no, then the girl, he finds the girl and they're hugging at the end. And it's
yeah, and they're gonna fuck some more.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I went on and on, like, before we went into spoiler territory about, like, look, not all art is beautiful, and, we have to deal with that, and maybe it's relevant and significant and important with it being unpleasant. But for that to be true, it has to make a statement. It has to make a cultural, social statement. Because if you're just presenting something ugly and going like, hey, that's ugly, okay, yeah, like, I know a couple of, like, 5-year-old children who are terrible painters, you know what I mean? Like, whatever.
I can poop in the toilet, it'll be ugly,
Yeah.
It's not art.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make a statement for the poop in the toilet to become art.
Yeah.
Which, it is possible, but your statement better be damn good.
Yeah.
But what statement is Oldboy making? So let's say that it is an amoral movie. Like, is it saying that a sin is only a sin if you remember it? Because that's a really irrelevant comment, because, untrue and weird.
Yeah.
Is it saying that it's only are the social pressures, like he told on the guy for incest, and then he wants people to forget because he's culturally being brought up to think incest is wrong. So incest is all right. It's just our culture that's in the way of real love. And if we only could rid ourselves of our culture, we could all have like awesome incest sex. Like, if that's the case, again, ew, gross. I don't want to talk to this director. I don't want to be in vicinity of that director. I want to register a freaking restraining order on the director if that's his statement.
Yeah.
Like, what is this movie saying that isn't gross and disgusting and unpleasant and utterly useless to society?
It's hard. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about the ending of this movie. Wow.
I'm mystified how celebrated it is, and I keep trying to figure out if it's because I totally missed the point, in which case, please write us. I want to know what the point is.
Yeah.
Or if I saw something in it, like a series of conclusions that you can derive from what happens at the end, that people sort of were engrossed enough in the movie not to think about, and so that never got in their way of the enjoyment. Like, I want to know which one of the two. Like, if you enjoyed this movie, you're probably really angry at us because we just, like, took a giant poop on it.
Yeah.
Not an artistic poop.
Yeah.
But, like, if you can get past that anger and, like, just write us and let us know what it is about the movie that you like and how you feel about our arguments about it. Like, do you feel like, oh, I never really noticed that and that didn't get in the way of my enjoyment? Or are you thinking like, well, no, that's totally not what it's saying. Here's what it's really saying. I want to know. And I won't judge anyone on either. Like, if you didn't notice what we saw and then we said it and you're like, yeah, I guess that's kind of there, but I didn't see it, so I enjoyed it when I watched it. Yeah. That's cool, dude.
That's cool.
Yeah, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And if you're like, that's not what it says, and here's what it really says, that's even better, you know?
That happens to me all the time, Talking to Dimitri makes me feel dumber every time, So, it's, go ahead, enlighten us. I love learning new things about movie, but I sincerely doubt there's any other interpretation to this. That is,
Yeah, because it's not a stretch. Like, like, it's not like I'm making, like, well, this clearly represents World War II and blah, blah, blah. And, like, no. Like, I'm really, like, going from A to B to C, like, in a really straight line here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's just go
Alright.
on to the remake.
Yeah, let's do that. It's a Spike Lee movie.
I hate Spike Lee.
You do?
As a person, he's an asshole. I started forming my idea in 2008 when he sued the Spike Network because they used the word Spike.
I remember that.
Seriously, he owns Spike, so when you spike the punch, you have to call Spike Lee saying, is it okay if I said I spiked the punch, or do I have to use something else, Apparently he owns the moniker Spike. I was like, what a fucking idiot. But then last year, okay, and it is again, it is a, kind of a hot topic in the US, and it's something very bad that happened, the Trevin Martin thing and Zimmerman. Yeah. But, as it happened, and they were, they knew it was Zimmerman that did it, but, he hasn't been arrested yet. He gave out the address of, where Zimmerman lived, except it was not his address. It was an address of a 7-year-old couple.
Oh, no.
Right? And honestly, even if it had been his real address, okay?
Yeah, you don't do that.
You don't do that. You don't need a mob tearing the guy to pieces. You need the justice system, even though...
Although, I mean, according to Spike Lee, it would have failed.
Yeah, but still, you don't need a lynch mob, okay?
Yeah.
But if you're going to give the guy's address, which I'm completely... give the right one, not the address of a poor 7-year-old couple. It is, seriously, the guy...
The couple, are they okay?
They're okay. They moved out, and then, he at least compensated them for the stupidity.
Oh, well, that's the least he could do, but at least he did do the least. So.
Yeah. So, as a human being, seriously, the guy is a complete failure. So, I don't want to encourage him.
It's a really weird thing to watch just how much of an impulsive moron he is in real life and how much of a thought-out artist he is as a filmmaker.
Interesting.
It almost makes it more fascinating. It's like, how the hell did that happen? Like, what is it like? Do you suffer from existential Tourette's? Like, what's going on?
Nice.
He gave out a little tidbit about the movie he was making. That was interesting. He said the ending was going to be completely different. He is jettisoning the incest angle. That's sort of at the center of the movie at this point, the ending.
Yeah.
The revelation that it's all incest related.
The ending is at the center of the movie. That's good.
Yeah. So, how do you remake a movie and completely change its central punchline? Like, you know what I mean? Isn't that fundamentally fucking with the spirit of the original at that point? Isn't that exactly what fucking with it is?
Pretty much.
And at that point, why don't you just make a different movie? Like, it's a really weird thing.
Yeah, well, it is a celebrated movie, like you say, so it has the drawing power of, know. Although, do you think people that love the original are going to go watch the other one?
No, they're going to poop on it. Well, I mean, the fact that it's Spike Lee might give them a little bit more of an incentive because he is an auteur.
Yeah.
And that in itself is enough to make you go, an auteur making a remake of this other movie with a very strong authorial voice. That's weird.
Yeah.
So, just as a curiosity, maybe movie lovers will have to go see it just because what are the chances of that happening again?
Yeah.
But at that point, I'm like, I can't see how that's the same movie. And if it is the same movie, except for the final half hour, I don't want to see it because I didn't like the first hour and a half of Oldboy either.
No, I mean, in this movie, you have to fuck with the original. The original, to me, is just unwatchable. It's not something I ever want to experience again. I want to forget it as soon as possible. I'm probably going to have to watch Sharknado tonight just to cleanse the palate. And yeah, no, fuck with the original. Seriously, it's change everything you can. Make it so that at least a few characters are relatable to, that you kind of give a shit what happens to them. And that will make it at least watchable.
Okay, guys, I'm sorry. This was the most angry podcast we have ever done.
Yeah, sorry about depressing you guys.
Yeah, more positivity to come. So, if you want to write us in the meantime, it's mail@idiomatic.com, or you can post a comment at idiomatic.com. And if you've listened to the spoiler section, you know that we totally want you to write to us.
Yeah.
Because I can't help the feeling that I must be missing something here. So, you can also write us through Facebook. You can also tweet us. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We're also on iTunes. If you could please like us on Facebook, that would be great. Otherwise, I will have to erase Nick's memory so that he can have an affair with his only living relative. And since he is his only really living relative, that means masturbation.
I do that all the time anyway. But, maybe wiping my mind will make it okay.